The State Department fires over 1,300 employees. These are your daily tax. In line with a drastic reorganization plan, the State Department is laying off a healthy subsection of their workforce. Per the AP, 1,107 Foreign Service officers and 246 Foreign Service officials with domestic responsibilities will be laid off today. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said these cuts were needed to make the department more efficient, less redundant, leaner, and more streamlined. But in the wake of it, criticism has risen to say that it affects U.S. influence abroad and domestically. In part, these can be seen as a resonant shockwave of the USAID cuts, which was absorbed into the State Department after the administration drastically cut foreign aid funding. The American Academy of Diplomacy, which has hundreds of former officials, had this to say: these cuts will, quote, seriously undermine the ability of our government to understand, explain, and respond to a complex and increasingly contested world. They added that Rubio's explanations for the cuts were also, quote, disingenuous, pernicious, and false, end quote. So let's unpack that a little bit. Large bureaucracies go through layoffs. That's not uncommon in today's world. Business rises and falls, and in the midst of all that, people get caught in the crosswinds. But this is a federal agency. The business is betterment of people's lives all across the nation, and global outreach is a part of that. The State Department ensures that our relationships with our neighbors and foreign influence abroad is meaningful, tangible, and consistent with the values that we propagate as Americans. Which, to that last point, I suppose, is true if you want to see it as a reflection of the administration. And so what this tells us is that we want to become increasingly isolated as a nation. Pulling back our influence means we become more secular. And what is important to remember, that influence can go both ways. The State Department and the people that work within it are there to foster these relationships and grow and develop foreign nations alongside us. That's a unilaterally good thing. A strong world doesn't mean that there can't be a strong United States. The two are not mutually exclusive things. And so cutting this workforce just because you want to get leaner, what does that actually mean? Because if we're talking about the strength of relationship between us and other nations, well then yeah, that relationship is going to get leaner. In a time where every nation around the world feels more dissociated from one another than ever before, it feels as if we're going in the opposite direction. And that's especially true for 1,300 people who now have to find new jobs. We'll keep you posted with thoughtful commentary here on Daily Tax.